I'll show you how to build our own AI using ChatGPT's API. Now, important tip, you can utilize the code I'm about to show you to swiftly create your own SaaS product. Alrighty guys, before we start up with anything, these are the packages we first need to install. So we need to run this npm install, OpenAI, this readline sync and colors and the .env. And the next thing that we're gonna go about like doing is you'll need to create your own .env file. This is where you're gonna store in your API key, which is the API key that you get from OpenAI, right? So now we're gonna then go ahead and actually create our index.js file, right? And then we're actually gonna try to import all like our actual packages that we're gonna need, right? So we're gonna use this OpenAI, right? So this is OpenAI, and this is coming from our actual OpenAI, right? Then the next one would be our .env. So .env, this is require, which is coming from our actual .env. Right, we'll also have our readline. So with our actual readline, this is coming from our readline async. And then we're gonna also try to get in our colors, right? So with colors, we'll need const colors. Then this is require. This is coming from our actual colors package, right? So before we actually are able to use like our .env, we'll need to run the .env config over there. And then we'll need to instantiate our OpenAI, right? So we'll say OpenAI equals to new OpenAI function, right? And then over here, we'll pass it like the OpenAI options, right? So the actual option that we're trying to get over here is our API key. And the API key is coming from our environments folder, which is .env.api key, right? So this is the API key that you're gonna get from this environments folder, right? Alrighty. Now we can go ahead and save that, and then now we can go ahead and actually create our main function, right? So this is gonna be our actual main function, right, which is our async function, right? So, and then this is where we go about actually implementing how we actually ask ChatGPT a specific question, right? So we'll have just a completion, right, which will then await, right? And then this await will use this openai.chat.completion, right, .create. So with this create, the stuff that we actually are trying to get through is actually using like our model. So the model we're going to be using is ChatGPT. So it's ChatGPT 3 Turbo, right? 3.5 Turbo, right? And then we also have to pass it like our actual message, right? So which takes in like our actual the actual array. So the array will be like the role of user, right? Because we'll be asking it like the user will be asking it like a question. So the role would be user, and then we'll pass it like the actual content. So the content is actually the question that you're asking it, right? So you'll say content. And then over here is you can write something like when was ChatGPT created, right? So this is the actual question that you can actually ask or prompt this, right? So once you're actually done with that, you can go ahead and actually try to console log, right? So we'll just say this is answer, and from our answer we'll pass it this completion, right? So now we can go ahead and actually call our main function. So when we actually call our main function, then we can actually run this by our node index, right? So over here, you'll see that it's actually performing like a actual ChatGPT question, right? And we're actually getting an answer. But what we'll need to get from there is actually from choices, because over here you see that we're getting a choices and an actual message, right? So we'll just pass it choices at 0 and actually try to get that answer, right? So if we were to go ahead and actually run this again, so now you will see that ChatGPT, also known as that, was released in March 2023, right? Okay, so this is how you go about actually prompting ChatGPT this question, right? But what we will actually want to do is actually now try to modify it in such a way that we can actually ask specific questions from a prompt, right? Which is like sort of a chatbot, if I can put it that way, right? So we'll clear that out, right? And then so what we can do is have like a const user input, right? And this is coming from our actual read line, and we're gonna get question. So with our actual question over here, we want to color this out, right? So the text of that question, we're going to color it out to, let's say, green color, right? And then the actual text that we want, right? So this is going to be our actual user text, right? And we'll get it that. And then instead of actually passing it the static user, we're actually going to be passing it the actual question that we're going to be getting from our actual user input, right? So if we were to go ahead over here and actually run this again, this will still ask us this. Then we just say hello ChatGPT, right? So if we were to run that, you'll see over here is it says hello ChatGPT, and our actual response would be hello, how can I assist you today, right? So but we don't want to leave it at that, because after it answering this question, this will actually stop the program, and we actually wanted to actually ask us to actually prompt another question that we can ask, right? So how we can go about doing that is by using like a while true, right, which is going to run an infinite loop, right? So with the while true, this is going to run like an infinite loop, right? And then let's come over here, actually try to just comment that for now, right? So you'll see if we actually now run the application, what you'll see is that if we run everything, right, it'll constantly ask us like a question, right? But we actually want to have it in such a way that we can even exit like the program. So if we actually pass in like maybe user input, right? So if the user input is exit equal to exit, so let's go ahead and actually trim it, right? But if we actually type in exit, we actually want to break out of this program, right? So we'll break out of this program, and we can go ahead and console.log you have quit the program, right? And then it says goodbye. Alrighty, so this is what it's actually gonna print out over here. Then colors, then we'll just say this color is green, right, for that actual console log, right? So if I were to stop the program, right, and run that and ask it that, and if immediately when I tap in exit, this will actually exit out of the program, right? So when we actually start our actual AI, so we want to have maybe a message that will say welcome to our chat bot, right? So this will say, well, welcome to our actual chatbot. And then over here, what we want to get is every time we ask it a question, right? So every time we ask a question, we want this to actually ask ChatGPT that question, right? So then we're going to put that in there. right? So we're gonna put that in there, and then over here we want to have like our specific like answer, right? Okay, sorry for that. So we're gonna have our specific answer, but what we want to have over here is actually say for our actual assistance, right? So this is gonna come from our actual assistance answer, right? So that's gonna be that dot so we're gonna get it from message and then content, and instead of actually having it as this, what we can actually also do is have complete dot choices, right? Dot and then message, and then we can just say dot role, right? Dot to uppercase, to upper. We'll just say this is the role, to this is upper case. So let's see if that actually works out. So we'll just say plus that, right? And then we also want to have this in a specific like color. So this is gonna come from colors.blue, right? So this is colors.blue, then we'll pass it that text. So if we go ahead and actually now try to run this, okay, how are you, right? And then let's wait for the actual answer. So over here you see that we actually have like a specific error, and that's because we didn't pass that as an array. So let's try it out again. How are you? Right, let's see if we actually get an answer. So we're actually getting an answer from our actual assistant, right? Can you please give me a simple math grade 1 question, right? Multiple choice question. Alrighty, so now let's actually see what ChatGPT will give us over there, right? So this will say, what is the sum of 2 plus 3? And then this will actually give you that. And you'll actually choose what your actual answer is, right? So yeah, that's basically what you actually need. And then if I were to go ahead and actually type exit, and then this will actually say that you have quit the program. So with all that being said, if you like the video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, peace.